What's up, guys? Welcome to Mystery and Mukbang, where you come for the mystery and you stay for the mukbang. Today's story is going to be on Courtney Palmer. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of it or not. I came across it on an episode of First 48, and it was just so crazy. Like, it was crazy. So, the story takes place. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the mystery. The mukbang, I'm going to have my White Castle today with a mixed Sprite. As you can tell, I'm kind of drinking a little bit of it, but that's okay. Well, I say mixed Sprite, mix all the flavors, cherry, lemonade, grape, whatever, peach. I mix them all in there. Okay, so right back to the story. So it takes place November 14th of 2016 in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Right. This they call it the election night. This is when Trump and Hillary was in office. Well, not in office, but trying to get elected to see who was president. So the story starts because a patrol officer in one of the apartment complex heard gunshots. Right. So he rushed over to the scene and he just saw people fleeing. So he decided to go check it out. When he arrived, he seen a man like the walkway, and he was slumped out over. Everybody had ran, and he can tell it was laying there. He had been shot in his torso several times, so his shirt was all bloody, all types of stuff. So the patrol officer called the police, and the police comes out. Now, the man who was shot was 39-year-old Carl Harris, aka Duke. We don't call him Duke because most people call him Duke. He was shot, but he wasn't dead. So they rushed him to the hospital, put him in critical condition. But like I said, he had several gunshot wounds to the body. Now, because everybody had ran, they couldn't really find what happened. But they later found out that his girlfriend, Duke's girlfriend, was in the parking lot. And so they go to Duke's girlfriend, and they want to bring her down to the precinct for questioning. And so she gets there. They get into the what is that called? No, the not the interrogation room. Yeah, get into the interrogation room. And so she starts to tell the story of what happened. One second. Sorry about that. My dogs hear one thing, they think the sky is falling. Okay, back to the girlfriend. So she goes down. Well, they go down to the precinct so they can question her, right? And so that's better. Back to the story. So her and Duke was at home, and they have a friend come over by the name of Courtney. For some reason or other, he wants to borrow their car. And so Duke allows him to get the keys. It was a gold Monte Carlo. So he allows him to get the keys to the vehicle. And so about an hour or so later, Courtney comes back to the house and tells him basically that the keys to the car got stolen. And that he needs a ride back and he needs Duke to come with him to get the keys because a woman stole the keys and he's like just kind of like up in an uproar about it. Like, you got me messed up. They stole the keys. So they go back to the apartment. I know I'm trying to get through my notes. I'm sorry. And the lead investigator says, "Oh, Courtney Palmer, I know who he is. He's been in several cases that I've worked on. I know who that. I'm familiar with the young man." And so he knows that Courtney has been into trouble. He's a really good kid, but he tends to get into a lot of trouble. And so they go back to the apartment, And like I said, Courtney was already agitated. So they get out the car, and the girlfriend stayed downstairs while Courtney and Duke went up to the apartment. So they went up there. They went unarmed, mind you. They went unarmed to these strangers' house that they didn't know. Well, kind of. They assumed that that's who took the car keys. So they go to the location unarmed and start knocking and banging on the door, right? To see if they can get the car keys back. And so next thing you know, because like I said, this is the girlfriend telling the story. The girlfriend starts to hear gunshots. She starts to hear gunshots and she runs. She takes off. Then she also sees Courtney take off, right? She's like, "Where's Duke? Where's Duke?" Courtney still running off. So she goes back to the apartment and she finds Duke spread out, right? Like, well, he was spread out. He was walking from the apartment. But she said he was walking really slow and then he fell out on the ground. And right before then, he tells his girlfriend that, you know, like I said, he's on my notes. He tells his girlfriend that he had been shot. And so during questioning, right, the lead detective, Detective White, he gets a call. No, I'm sorry. During questioning, the girlfriend gets a call. And that Duke is stable, probably going to live, although he got shot a couple times. He's going to be okay. Now, Courtney, he's 23. They're looking for him because he does have a history of drug use. And then, like I said, just being around bad people. And so, they're trying to find out what happened. So I'm trying to figure out where I was. I'm sorry. Oh, so they go back to the apartment, right? And they question the woman. Well, at the apartment because, you know, it was when it was in. So she says it was her friend, her friend's 2 kids, her cousin, and her cousin's 3 kids. When I heard somebody kicking and yelling at the door about some keys, but she had no idea about any keys or anything. It was just the 3 women in the apartment. So they get scared and they run to the back to hide. And she said as soon as the door closes, she hears gunshots ringing out. She don't know where they came from. She just hears that she heard gunshots ringing out. And so she says that's the whole story, right? That they came knocking on the door, they got scared, they ran, and they started hearing gunshots. But the detective, he's already heard a lot of the story. And he was like, well, that's some of the story. I need you to tell me the rest of the story. A girl is like, what story? What story? And he was like, well, I was told that there was a man in the house who opened the door. That it wasn't just throw you in there. And so the woman was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, so the detective leaves the room to make a call. And to take a call. Not to make a call, sorry. Take a call. And it's the hospital, right? Where Duke is. And on the phone is guess who? Courtney. It's Courtney. So they're like, oh my God, Courtney, we've been looking for you. You know, all this stuff. The detective was just shocked, like, oh my God, it's Courtney. And so, like I said, because Courtney and the detective kind of have a past together, the detective sends out 2 cops to go get Courtney from the ER and bring him back to the office. So, in the meantime, because she didn't confess to anything. She didn't say anything happened. They had to let the woman go. So Courtney arrives and goes to Whitney's room where he greets the detective because, like I said, they know each other. You can maybe see on first, but yeah, they have like a handshake. They're like, "What's up?" You can tell they know each other. So the Courtney starts to tell the detective all this information on different homicides. But mind you, the detective was like, he also want to hear about what happened tonight. He only wants to hear about stuff, whatever happened, he'll hear about it later. So Courtney is like pacing all over the room, right? He's going from corner to corner to corner to corner. And he's acting really nervous. The detective tries to calm him down, but Courtney was like, "Nah, I'm just really agitated. Um, there's a lot going on." The detective was like, "Are you on something right now?" He's like, "No." He's like, "Are you supposed to be on something right now?" Well, Courtney was like, "Yeah, I didn't take my medication today." But basically, he's letting the detective know that Duke was just there trying to help him. Duke is his friend. He was just there trying to help him get the car keys back, get the keys back, because he mind this is Duke's vehicle. So he's like, "Duke is my friend. I have a daughter, and Duke's helped me out with her. He's trying to help me get my life together because I be out here in the streets sometimes, and he's just basically a really good friend." And so from him hearing stuff, Courtney gets word that people think that he set Duke up to get shot, but he didn't. Right? He's like, "That's not true. That's not true." Um, Courtney sits down, right? Because it's been a couple hours since he got there. Courtney sits down and he asks the detective, he's like, "Oh my God, is Duke dead? Is he okay? Is he gonna make it out?" And the detective is like, "Well, he's not dead, but he is in critical condition. He's definitely in critical condition." So Courtney says, "Well, I'm here to say my name because people are going to think that I set him up, but I didn't." So the detective's like, "Okay, tell me what happened. All right, tell me how the story goes." And so he says, "Why did you go to the apartment in the first place?" He said that because Duke wanted his keys back, and so that's why he went over there. He took Duke because Duke wanted his keys back, and he said that they was taken by the woman in one of the complex. Like he was, I guess somehow a woman took his keys and went to the complex, and that's the door that they went to. And that's one with the room, like I said. So Courtney goes to get Duke, and he knocks on the door. A smaller guy. Mind you, Courtney is small, but I guess the other guy's a little bit smaller. So comes to the door and wants to know like what all the commotion is about. Mind you, they are like kicking and banging on this man's door about these keys, right? So the man is about to go open his door. No, I'm sorry. That's from the man's point of view. He says that, well, they said he has kids in there. So next thing Courtney knows, everyone is pushed to the back of the apartment somehow, some way. And then gunshots started to ring out. And so that's why Courtney left, because he got scared. Because like I said, they went up there unarmed. They just went up there to get the keys. And he was right behind Duke when it all happened. So that's probably how he was able to get away, because Duke is a bigger guy and Courtney is small. So when they both like went in, Courtney's behind. So Duke got shot first and Courtney ran. So at this point, Courtney's like really, really nervous, right? You can tell he's jittery. His hands is going back and forth, and he's just like nervous, and he's just like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this happened." He's like rocking back and forth, like I said. Can't keep his hands still. So he says that he's there because he's just trying to help. He really wants to find whoever did this to his friend. He also wants to set his story straight. He says that he has so much information about different homicides, but in order for him to give that information, he wants to be put on tether or put on GPS, and which that means like the ankle monitor. And so the detective was like, "Why would you want to be put on an ankle monitor?" He was like, "Because people are about to come try to kill me because they think I set up Duke." Yeah. He was like, "That's not what happened at all, but if people gonna try to kill me, all right." And so he's like, "I want you guys to be the only ones that's gonna be able to track me. I don't want nobody else to know where I'm at." So the two talk for a while longer. Then the door opens, right? And the second cop comes in and gives Courtney a pack of cigarettes so he can calm down, sit down, actually have a conversation. He says that he's trying to go to California so that he can be with his sister. He wants to move away. All this stuff is a lot that's happened. He wants, to be somewhere where he'll be safe, right? So he asked the detective, he's like, "Can you help me?" He's like, "Can you, the detective was like, "No, I can't get you a train ticket or whatever to California." He was like, "Well, I'm not talking about a train. I need a plane. I need to get there right away." And he was like, "Well, what he's going to try to help him any way he can, but he can't send him off right now because he's in the middle of an investigation. He can't send him nowhere. What he wants him to do is to he sees how scared he is, and he's scared to go back to the place of where he was. He's just really like, they're going to kill me. They're going to get killed because they think I set up Duke." So after some more conversation, detective gets Courtney some food. He said, Courtney was like, "Yeah, because it's going to be a while. I got a lot of stuff to tell you. It's going to be a while." And so the lead detective leaves the room to talk to a second. And the second has been watching, how they have little monitors or whatever on the investigation room. He's been watching the whole time. And he sees how all over the place Courtney is, right? But the thing about it, if it's the second, he tells his superior, like, "You need to get this under wraps. Like, he's all over the place. You can't really use none of this," right? And so he goes back into the room after he stops at the vending machine. He got him a pop and some mini cookies. I seen him like eating cookies, whatever. So the detective turns to Courtney and asks if he had taken his medication today, and again he says no. He says that that's partially why he's so jittery is because he hasn't taken his medication and he kind of needs to take his medication. He has ADHD, schizophrenia, and so he's a little off. And so, but he wants to come to the detective first to make sure he does the right thing. And so the detective warns Courtney that if he keeps going down the same path, or the same, something bad is going to happen to him. That you're going to die if you keep hanging around with these same people, get into these same circumstances that I've always known you to be in. Something's going to happen to you. And Courtney sits down and he says, "I know. That's why he's there trying to change and go to California." So the detective says he'll give him anything he wants. I'm sorry, not detective, but Courtney says he'll give him anything he wants as long as he gets the tether and he gets to go to California. So after more questioning, the detective asks, does he know who shot Duke? And so Courtney, he's like, "Yeah, I know who shot Duke. I know who shot Duke. It was this guy named Teddy." And so he said, "Did you see it? Did you see Teddy shoot Duke?" And Courtney says, yes, I've seen Teddy shoot Duke." So the detective, he leaves the room and he goes to his partner, and he's already looking up who Teddy was. Courtney gave him his last name. I don't think his real name was Teddy, but he gave him his real name or whatever. And after a little searching, they did find a mugshot of Teddy, and they wanted to know if Courtney could identify him. So they took the paper, they took the picture with Teddy's face on, and they bring it to the interrogation room. And he's like, "Who's this? Do you know who this is?" Courtney's like, "Yeah, I know who this is. That's Teddy. That's Teddy." So he was like, "Are you sure?" So then Courtney grabs the piece of paper and he looks at it a little bit closer and he's like, yeah, I know that's Teddy. And so at that point is a positive identification. And so Courtney goes to say how again he needs to go to California and he needs to get his medication. He's reiterating that he needs to leave, but he also needs his medication. But first, he needs to go to his mom's house because he needs to talk to his mom. His mom was like his best friend. So he needs to check on his mom and make sure she's okay. All right? So the detective, because Courtney is all everywhere, he's really skeptical about the stuff that Courtney is saying. Like I said, he's jittery all over the place. He hasn't taken his medication. You know, he's like, I don't know if I can use this in court. They're probably tear it apart. So he asked him some really simple questions about what's going on. And he's like, oh my God, what is this fly something? And he's like, do you know who is getting elected tonight? He's like, yeah, Hillary and Donald Trump is running for office, but I really don't care. That's not helping me at all. I need to get this information so I can be safe. Detective's like, okay, I understand. So the detective says, okay, sit down, eat your cookies, I'll be back. So he goes to his partner, and like I said, he's feeling skeptical about it, and he's like, I don't know whether this is the truth or not. He's not going to get a warrant for Teddy because he don't think a judge is going to give him one based on the actions of Courtney on his past, how he's acting. He just don't think that it's going to go through. So he tells Courtney, he says, I am going to send you home, right, so you can take your medication. And after a day or so, I want you to come back so we can finish talking about this. She said, make sure when you go to your mom's house, you stay there. Stay there, you take your medication, you get everything. Don't go nowhere else. You take all the medication you're supposed to, and you should be okay. So he let him go. He said to call him, like I said, after a day or so. But in the meantime, he wants to find the woman who initially took the keys. Remember I said before, this is how it all started because a woman took the car keys. So she could confirm if Teddy was or was not the shooter. The next day, the detective reaches the woman when she agrees to come in for questioning. Oh, it's talk to him, questioning, whatever you want to call it. She says that she knows Courtney because he has a child with her old best friend. I guess they're not best friends anymore, however that goes. But, yeah. The girl and Courtney dated for a while, had a baby. So she's known Courtney since he was about 15, right? That's around the time that they got together. And so, and he was like, do you know anything about Duke? She was like, oh, I don't really know that much about who Duke is, but I do know that he was shot. She says that Courtney was driving the gold Monte Carlo erratically. He was swerving all over the places. He almost hit a couple cars. So when he did park the car, he went up to her because he came up to her and she was like, what are you doing? And why are you driving like this? And so she decided to take the car keys. She was like, he has to be like on something because he's known to like take drugs and stuff like that. So she's like, after you sober up, you can, come get the keys back. So, like I said, she was considered concerned for his safety. She tells him that she'll be back. So she gets in her car and she left. She wasn't there when they came back to get the keys. But later that day after everything happened, she got calls telling her everything that happened. So she wasn't aware at first that everybody came back and this is what happened. She wasn't aware until like later that day or early the next morning that everything had happened, appointment. So she doesn't know who shot who. And she's never heard of a man named Teddy. She don't know at the apartment it wasn't a man named Teddy. So that makes Courtney's statement look even more skeptical because not a person who doesn't have history taking drugs isn't high. So there was never a man named Teddy. She says that she still has the keys and she feels really bad about what happened, even though her heart was in the right place, right? To take the keys from him because he was driving erratically. She didn't want him to hurt nobody else. So that's why she took the keys. But then she says it's her fault that everything happened afterwards. So at this point, the detectives are starting to put things together, and that it was like basically all misunderstanding. All this happened because people thought some stuff happened and didn't, and this person was there and that person wasn't. So it's basically a misunderstanding. And so Courtney, he went back to the apartment he had seen the woman come from. Mind you, like say he looked high at this point, so he might not have heard her say that she'll be back. So he went to the apartment that she came from, but she wasn't there. So when they went back, no one knew what they were talking about because she didn't go back to the apartment and tell everything that happened. She got straight in her car and she left. And so since she wasn't there, she can't identify who shot Duke. So he thinks that when Duke is better, he can ask him directly. So he's like, maybe I'll just have to wait until Duke wakes up to try to ask him directly who shot him. They go to St. Francis Hospital, but he's still sedated. Like I said, he got shot like 6 or 7 times in his torso. So this is like day 4. He's still asleep. It's like I said, like a long time. So he thinks that it's about time to go and question Courtney because, like I said, he dropped him off like a couple days prior. Dropped him off a couple days prior. And he's like, okay, well, he should be having his medication now. So he should be fine. So I'm trying to figure out where I was. So he's like, okay, I'm going to go question Courtney. But then another witness calls in with information. The detective tells him to come in. This is right before he tries to find Courtney. The detective tells him to come in and so he can write a statement. So the witness comes in, sits down, and within 5 seconds, sitting down, before anybody even got a chance to say anything, the guy was like, I shot the guy. And everybody's like, oh my God, what? What? Because like I said, nobody has ever just came out and said, yeah, I did it, I shot the person. Usually it's nail and tooth trying to get an answer out of anybody, especially about murder. Yeah, you're not going to ever come out and just say that. So he's like, basically, all his time being a detective, that's never happened. And he was so shocked by it that it threw off his line of questioning. And he's just like, well, you know what? Just start from the beginning. Because at that point, you don't know what to ask. Or he just fill in the blanks, right? So the guy says that he came home and he shut it and locked his door. And before he even got a chance to sit down, was him banging on his door. So he gets up to go and check the door. At the same time, in the background, he hears like a large crash. And later on, it's determined that his bedroom window had been broken in. So he's like, what do I do? Do I go and check the door? Check the bedroom, right? The banging is still coming from the door, so he goes and checks the door. He doesn't know who either one of these people is, so he cracks the door open a little bit, sticks his head out the door. He's like, can I help you? You're making a lot of noise. I got kids in here. What's going on? So Duke, he pushes the door open. And he's like, I don't care that you got keys in here. That has nothing to do with me. I need my keys back. The man is like, I don't know what you're talking about. What keys? What keys are you talking about? And so him and Duke kind of get into like a little shuffle. Next thing they know, they make it to the back. Now the guy, because they don't identify his name, he makes it to the back, and he goes and grabs his gun because, like I said, he don't know who these guys is. The guys just came in, asked for some stuff he don't know about. He just got home. The dudes ain't trying to talk to him, ain't trying to have a conversation. They just talking about these keys. And so, um, so Courtney is saying basically that the woman took his keys and nobody know what he's talking about. So the guy goes to reach for his gun, and Duke is so close behind him that when he turned around, he was right there, and he just starts shooting. And that's how Duke ended up getting shot. And so afterwards, he fled. So when the cops showed up, that's why he wasn't there. And so the detective is like, well, if all this is true, then why are you just now coming forward trying to tell us what happened? And the guy was like, well, I had a lot of adrenaline running, and because of that, I was scared. But after I had like a day or two to think about it, I didn't do anything wrong. So I don't think I should be going to jail. That's why I came here to let you know, set the story straight, that this is what happened. And he's like, oh, shoot. Ooh, in my fries. This is why I came here before. What? It's okay. Oh, I was here. Okay. And so, like I said, she was good to the kids. So, at this point, and so, because the guy don't feel like he's done anything wrong, he says that he feels bad about the guy that bars into his apartment getting shot. But if it was up to him, he would do it again. But this time, he would have stayed. He wouldn't have ran. He would have stayed. He was like, I'm 135 pounds soaking wet. I'm not about to fight no big, huge guy. And so, that's why he ended up getting shot. So, so he's basically saying that he was protecting his home and he didn't do anything wrong. So he was like, basically, it was either Duke or him. So after reviewing some of the forensic reports of the crime scene, he says that the dude's story actually adds up, and he let him go, but he still has to file a report with the defense attorney because it still has to go on record. So at this point, the detective knows that he needs to find Courtney. It's been about a week since he heard from Courtney, but he can't find him. And then the tip line rings, right? So there's a call on the other line. It says that they're pretty sure that Courtney is dead. They're pretty sure that, yeah, somebody got him. And everybody does think that he set up Duke. That's what happened. And now he's missing. And so the tipper also says that they think that Courtney was killed in the bathroom of a house. In Tulsa. No, I don't know if Tulsa. What is this? Another Summit. Yeah, in Summit. I'm sorry. So detective aren't sure if it's true or not, but they know they need to find Courtney. And they also said the thing about the tip is that they think that he was killed in the house in Tulsa, but then that he was sent to Summit to get fed to some pigs. So they think that whoever killed him took his body and fed him to some pigs. So the detectives are really, really worried. So they call his mom, but no one has heard from him. So it might be true. They've been trying to do some research of where Courtney is. No one has heard from him. And the thing about that is that even if Courtney is high, he still calls his mom to see if she is okay, to see if, everything's okay, but to apologize that that's how his life has started out. So the guy's like, I know Courtney. This isn't normal for Courtney. I know for a fact this isn't normal for Courtney. So he decides to put out a news bulletin to see, like, Courtney knows a lot of people. So at some point, somebody's going to see this and call in and tell us what Courtney is, right? Oh, they end up tracking down the tipper, right? And the thing is, just not any first-hand information. The tip came from a woman that was in the house. So the tip person that was tipped was never in the house. Detective was like, so why are you telling us and not your woman, right? So, they track down the woman and bring her to the station. She said that this is the tipper, that she doesn't know Duke, but she knows he was shot. And it says that the woman that she was talking to wanted to lure Courtney over with the promise of drugs, and get him intoxicated and all types of stuff to see if he had any more information. And so, on what happened to Duke. So the woman inside the interrogation room asked her friends afterwards, after everything happened, so where is Courtney? Like, as you said, you was going to do all this stuff. Okay, so where's Courtney now? And the woman was like, no one needs to worry about where Courtney is. Yeah. But, so the woman's like, the woman never said that she killed Courtney, but she kind of insinuated it. She kind of was like, just don't worry about it, So, the detective tries to get more empathy out of the woman by telling the woman that his mom is really looking for him. She loves him. She's been trying to get in contact with him, and no one's heard from him. So he's a good kid. He just hangs around with the wrong people. And so the woman ended up giving the name of 39-year-old Charlotta, but everybody calls her Charlie, right? When we looks up, we found out she's been arrested many times. The most ones that stick out is larceny and harboring a fugitive. That's what it's called because it's English. Harboring a fugitive. So he goes to a judge and gets a warrant, and the whole time saying how he has a bad feeling about everything. How he's just like, I don't think this is gonna turn out well, right? Oh, excuse me. And so they head to where Charlie lives, being led by the detective. The squad of policemen surround the home to make sure nobody runs, anything like that. And so they immediately heads to the bathroom with the forensic team. They sprayed the bathroom with the blue luminol. Most people know, even if you clean blood up, they kind of let them know this is where blood was, or if cleaning products were used to clean the blood up. And they said, as soon as they put the blue light on, the whole bathroom illuminated. It was so much blood, and they were sure at that point that if this was Courtney's blood, he was dead because it was just so much everywhere. So they take Charlie, her son, and Charlie's girlfriend to court, right? Not to court, to the detective office. Questioning. Because the detective is pretty sure, like I said, Courtney is dead, and he starts to get emotional. And he's like, he wished he would have just stayed at his mom's house like he told him to. If he never would have left, none of this would have happened. My opinion, if he would have took that boy seriously in the first place, none of this would happen. But that's not for me to determine. You know what I'm saying? That ain't for me to determine. Maybe it is. I don't know. Anyway. So he's like, well, we got 3 people in question, and it's going to be pretty hard to get a conviction for the murder if we don't get a confession or if we don't find the body, right? So the first person that they question is the son's girlfriend. And she says that she don't really know Courtney, but she sees him coming around on holidays and stuff like that, special occasion. The detective says, hey, we know for a fact that he was killed in that bathroom. So all we need you to do is fill in the blanks. So she denies knowing anything. So they have no choice but to let it go. Because like I said, they need a confession. So they move over to the son. And he says Courtney is his cousin's child's father. Yeah. And the last time we seen him was on Halloween night, which was around the time that Duke got shot. The detective says, do you know who Duke is? The boy says, no, not really. So he starts off and he's like, well, I hope nothing happened to him. And he's trying to be like really sympathetic. Like, I seen all this stuff on Facebook about him. But I don't know what happened. So, in midst of all this lying, the detective pulls out his phone and he shows footage of their bathroom. He's like, look, this is your bathroom. You see all these specks and lights and stuff like that? That's because blood was in your bathroom. So we know for a fact that somebody was murdered, somebody was beaten, somebody was something in your bathroom, right? And so after a couple minutes, of seeing the evidence, the boy's like, you know what? All right, I got something to tell you. I got something to confess. And so the detective goes to get his pen and pad, and he's like, okay, what do you have to say? The man's like, okay, this is what happened. And that part is what we're going to do on part 2. Because, yeah, it's a lot of information. He sat on this for a while. I'll be back with the second report. Hopefully, I can get it together a little bit more. This was kind of a rush job today. But stay tuned for part 2. Okay? Because it gets crazy. It gets crazy. Okay? Peace.